Welcome to Rick Rack Ruby. I'm Laura Cluvo. Today we will be making this Petite Pastel angel ornament with fabrics from the Hometown Holiday collection. She's also embellished with vintage lace and trim. She's fun and easy, so let's get started. I have a new Christmas fabric collection. These are all fat quarters from Riley Blake, and it's called Hometown Holiday by Lori Holt. This obviously has a very nice broad selection of fabrics. I'm especially intrigued by the neutrals, and I have the idea that I would like to combine neutrals with vintage lace. So I'm gonna, I like this because it has the green. I like, I want something very subtle to start with. Maybe this. Oh, this is bigger. So I want like a mini print that looks a little bit Christmassy and not too big. This one's good, has red and green. I like that, doesn't look super vintagey. I think this one's good too. Is that blue in there or green? I think it's actually green. All right, well, so I'm gonna go with this and this. Maybe this. I'll press these flat, have a look, and dig into my lace and see what I've got, and we'll get started. For the first design in my vintage pastels, I've selected this, it's sort of like a turquoise and taupe dotted fabric. And then for the wings, I've chosen this sort of star print with a turquoise star and the little dots. And I have cut, I've cut a 4-inch circle of medium weight fusible interfacing and iron that to the back, and I'm going to cut that out. This will be for the wings, and I have an assortment of additional items here that I'm going to try to work into this little collection. So I'm going to fold this in half, and I'm looking at the grain to make sure that I'm staying on grain. And I'll fold this in half and stitch around this curved edge. Now I'm going to trim out this seam allowance with my pinking shears. I'm folding it to determine the center, and I'll draw the little plus sign right here. And I'm going to clip into this center for turning. So I'm going to turn this right side out. And I only clip through one layer, so only the front is clipped. I'm going to use a chopstick to help get this all the way out to the edges. That looks good. And now I will go press this flat. Do you love to see this pile of vintage goodies that I'm going to use, or is it distracting? Let me know. I'm not going to feature everything in every project, but I've just sort of collected some. Here's some trim. Anyway, this is for the wings, and I'm going to add a decorative stitch around the edge. I couldn't find the perfect shade for this, but I think this one's pretty close to what I had in mind. So I'm going to do a scalloped edge with the decorative stitches on my sewing machine. Here's my wing piece. I've done that scallop there, and this is the front. It's important to remember that the front is the side that has the clip in it. The back looks pretty good too, but the front is a little bit better. And now we're going to make the actual angel. This angel is a little bit small, so I'm using a 16mm bead. I have 6-inch tulle, 6-inch wide ivory tulle, 2 lengths, fold it in half and tie it off at the center with my 1/16 inch ribbon. There we go. I've already made the face on this 16 millimeter wooden bead, and you can find the instructions for the face in my Focus on Faces video. So I'm going to send the ends of the ribbon through the hole in the bead from the bottom to the top. I'm going to slide that through, and I want the tool to fill the hole in the bead, but I also want it to be secure. So I'm going to add a drop of glue here. I have hot glue, just a very small amount of glue. You don't want it squeezing out. And then once again, pull it through so that that knot is right at the top of her head. And then I'm going to tie this off. So this is her hanging loop. And this is her dress. And it's 3.5 tall and 12 inches wide. I'm going to add a little bit of trim. I've decided on this at the bottom, so just over the hem. This has a couple of discoloration spots, which sort of add to the vintage appeal. And then I'm going to add some of this above it. So I'm just going to do a zigzag to secure this. I usually cut a little bit longer than I think I need. This trim is 3/8 of an inch wide. And now I'm going to add this little blue trim. This is so sweet. And it's only 1/4 of an inch wide. Put it about like that. There's my dress with the trim on the bottom. And now I'm going to, you can see that I use a zigzag here to attach it. Now I'm just going to match up those trims on the side and sew up this seam, which will become the back of the dress. Here's my dress, so I'll turn it right side out, and now I'm going to gather it up around the collar, around the neck of the angel. I'm going to secure my knot right here by folding over the seam allowance, and I'm using a double strand of quilting thread. And then I'm just going to gather up the top, less than 1/4 of an inch from the top edge. I'm just sewing through one layer all the way around. It's a little running stitch. There we go. Now I'll put this over the angel's head, putting the face in front and the seam in the back. There we go. That looks good. Now I'm going to wrap and then stitch through. The wrapping makes it tight, and the stitches prevent it from sliding off. So they hold those gathers up there close to her head. And then I'll just tie it off in the back here. For her collar, I have a 12-inch length of this flat white, I think it's 5/8 of an inch lace. And I like the white because it's a nice contrast to the neutral color of the background of this fabric. So I folded it under, and then I secured my knot, and I'm going to gather this up. There's no secret to it. It's just a little bit below the header, in and out, in and out, all the way to the end. And I like to use a thimble. I just use the thimble to push the needle all the way, to push the needle through. And now with my collar gathered up, I'm going to place it around her neck and join the ends in the back. Pull it nice and tight. There's so many thick gathers at her neck that I want to make sure I always pull it tight so that it doesn't look too thick. Now I'm going to secure the thread in the back. I use 2 strands of quilting thread. Okay, let's work on her hair. I have 2 yarns here. One is loopy and one is fuzzy. You don't have to use these exact yarns. You can use whatever you like. Just choose something small and thin because she's so small. Okay, I'm just going to wrap this 3 times. I'm holding this end here and wrapping 1 and 2 and 3 and. Then I'll cut this. Make sure you leave a long enough tail to wrap this all the way around, complete circle. Then pick up the first end and tie it off in the center. There we go. I'm going to trim that. And there's my first bundle. Second one is exactly the same. One and 2 and 3 and. Do a complete circle around the center. Pick up the first part, the first end, and tie it in the center. Just treat the 2 strands as one. And if you have a little bit thicker yarn, you can just use 1 strand. So I have 2 bundles of hair yarn. The first one's going to go in the back. So I'm going to squeeze out a penny of glue here. And remember, this is small. This is only 16 millimeters. So it's pretty small. Then I'm going to press the center of the bundle right behind my hanging loop and just press the loops into the glue. There we go. That looks good. This one's a little bit loose, so I'm going to glue that one down. Just a little touch of glue there. Then for the front, I'm going to squeeze out some glue right here in front of the hanging loop. And press the center of the bundle right there into the front, the glue in front of the hanging loop. And then I'm going to twist these back like this. And they're going to get glued to either side of the face. So I'll squeeze out a line of glue right here along the side of her face. Not too close to her face, kind of where her ear would be. And then twist it toward the back and press it into that line of glue. That looks good. And then the same thing for the second side. Twist it toward the back, add a line of glue right here. And then press that into the glue. You might see my knot right here. I kind of like that because it kind of looks like a little curl or bangs, and I'm going to leave it. But I'm going to go back and kind of touch some of these spots with a glue gun to press them more securely to the wooden head. There we go. I like that. I can see her face. Her hair looks good. The pleats in her dress look good. I love the trim. It's all good. All right. Let's add her halo. I'm cutting off about 1.5 inches of 20 gauge gold wire, and I'm going to just shape it around my thimble. There we go. I'm going to add a drop of glue to each end and then press that into the hair. The ends kind of at the, like the side, the bottom of the side. Okay, that looks good. Now let's give her a little bow. I've chosen this metallic gold and white baker's twine, but it is a little tricky to use. I find that it unravels easily and the strands kind of separate, so you know, you can always use a ribbon or something else. I just like the look of this one, so I think I'm going to try to use it anyway. Okay, so I'll add a little bit of glue right here to the center. And I'm going to put that underneath her collar. That looks good. And I'm gonna tie overhand knots in my streamers. That looks good. And then for a little ornament at her neck, I thought this would be cute, but it's too dimensional. It just sticks way out no matter what I do, so I'll have to use this for something else. I'm going to use one of these paper forget-me-nots. These are old, I've had these forever, but I feel like there is this color that just, it sort of has that vintage look. So I'm just going to glue it right here. This looks speckled. I just think it's really cute. And then finally, I'm just going to glue the wing behind her head like this. Remember, the side with the cut is the front, and I just want to make sure I glue this right to the middle. And she's done. Thank you for watching my tutorial. If you're enjoying my videos, please like, share, and subscribe.